Hello, what's up, YouTube? So, as you all know, there are some issues going on with Beshida, and I figured I'd talk about that. I will also be talking about, other news and whatnot. Beshida, up until October, was pretty much the company that was like the only company that wasn't seriously pissing gamers off. So, as you all know, there is, of course, serious issues, and I'm just gonna browse the web. I'm just going to browse the web and show images from the web as I talk about the issues and whatnot. The main issue with Beshida is Fallout 76. So, and of course, the main issue with our golden little game here, and the main concern is whether or not you can enjoy a single player experience. Now, I play Fallout New Vegas, and I still play Fallout 3, and I do enjoy, Fallout and whatnot, but of course, there is a lot of concern regarding Fallout 76. Could you still enjoy the game from a single player perspective? Yes, you actually could. Now, that is not necessarily too big of an issue, okay, because you can enjoy Fallout from a first-person perspective. There's journals around. There isn't any NPCs to run around with. Not. What's going to happen, however, is when you enjoy it from a single-player perspective, you might be raiding a dungeon, and out nowhere, other players pop up. And they, other players will pop up, and they kill everything in the area, and then rush through. And then any real difficulty or challenge that you have is basically just annihilate. The other players that you weren't even playing with came through and killed everything. That's really the only issue you're going to have with other players. You can turn off PvP mode, and in doing so, they cannot harm you. However, if you turn it back on, then they can shoot you and whatnot. The VAT system being in real time means they can shoot you while you're in VAT. So VATS really works only like an auto aim, but that's not overpowered because the RPG element of things. You're not going to one hit kill somebody like you would with auto aim in Call of Duty. And while you're using this auto aim menu, so to speak, you're going to have them shooting at you, so they might even kill you before you even pop off the VATS. As you can imagine, Fallout, of course, is very clunky in a player versus player mode. So having PvP off is probably going to be ideal. And, in terms of having friends along with you, that's cool and everything. But that has its own issues, and the issues being is that, when you play with friends, you want to rush through and be the first person to, complete the quest or do a particular thing, and you're going to miss things. You're going to miss out on things. You're going to miss loot, you're going to miss an Easter egg here and there and this and that, which is where the advantage of playing by yourself comes from, is you're not going to miss out on things. And not missing out on those things is, going to be great and whatnot. You're going to get, loot that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten because you would have rushed through the level. Now, the other issue, of course, people ask is, well, what about the enemies? Are the enemies going to be too tough? Is the public events going to be too tough, or, any of these things? And collectively, from other, watching other YouTubers and whatnot discuss their playthroughs and their gameplay and things, the collective answer is no. There seems to be no problem in terms of difficulty of enemies or whatnot. You could play the game by yourself. It's going to be easier with friends, but realistically, it's no different than if you were to play Borderlands 2 by yourself, even though, you could play with friends. And in that sense, the enemies, you can defeat them by yourself. It's not overly difficult. It's not ridiculous. If you find a good weapon, a unique weapon or a decent, pipe pistol or something, and you use it well, and you're a good player, you're not going to have any issues. Same thing with the events, respawn, whatnot. If you've played Destiny, which I've played Destiny, it's a lot like Destiny. It's the same idea and the same core principles. Is you can join players at any time, or not join them, and you can find players and run into them. They might run in and interrupt your quest and kill everything, but other than that, it doesn't really matter. You can still play by yourself. The other underlying thing is, of course, once again, you can do everything yourself. Now, the other issue Bathsheba is having is a little more troublesome, and I will explain fully what that is. Somebody's already probably posted, what it is and whatnot. Fallout 76 is having an install bug. So now, pressing buttons doesn't matter, but specifically clicking, which I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that. Clicking anything at all will, when you're trying to install things, will delete everything. Okay, so it deletes the entire 50 gigabyte beta off of your console, which you can just re-download it, but 50 gigabytes is a pretty big file. And with all big files, they take a long time, so it's really, really annoying. Needless to say, a lot of people are not happy and they're complaining about it, and Fallout 76 had to actually tweet about it, and talk about, just basically talk about the issue of it and announce, don't click anything, whatnot. And they don't have any fixes for it. They don't have anything fixed for it. There's no fix for it. Like, they're just telling players not to click anything while it's downloading. Which is funny, because so basically, if you're downloading this, you can't play your games or do anything either. You just have to sit there and stare at your screen, or go cook yourself dinner or something and come back. That's pretty damn hilarious. Now, the other hilarious thing, and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and explain, what the problems is. And I'm not going to buy Black Ops 4. So you're not going to see me play it. I'm sorry, but that's, the way they handled DLCs and everything was already terrible. So the way they handle DLCs is basically you have to buy it all at once, or if you want to install DLCs at a later date, you have to go in store with your fucking console and have them install things. And of course there's, microtransactions and monetization schemes like usual, just like with Advanced Warfare, just like with Black Ops 3, okay, nothing's changed there. Then here's the other issue, and here's what fans are complaining about, is, and here's a relevant picture to that, is with zombies, okay? Oh, this is for the blackout mode. With zombies, the whole new storyline breaks the old storyline. So, you basically, and I have to explain the story here, is so there was the cycle and everything with Black Ops, Black Ops 1, 2, and 3 zombies. Well, in Black Ops 4, Maximus Richtofen broke the cycle, and so Ultimus Richtofen and Ultimus Dempsey and Ultimus Takiao and Ultimus Nikolai, they're all going to die. Basically, they're trapped in purgatory. They're going to die in purgatory. The only thing they have left to do is accept their fate and release the other versions of themselves. And so these other versions of themselves will succeed. There was an Easter egg that, when translated, was saying that this particular version of Richtofen and Dempsey and Takeo and Nikolai will succeed. So it completely changes the story. You know, you basically spent all this time getting attached to these characters, thinking that they were going to be the ones to break the cycle, and they didn't break the cycle. So what the cycle is every map has an Easter egg. Every map that you play or whatnot. Basically, they have to do all the Easter eggs. They have to do them correctly, or they fail. So if they die, they fail. If they don't do the Easter egg, they fail. If they fail the Easter egg, they fail. And then the other thing, of course, about that is like all Easter eggs are really difficult, and some of them are contradicting. Now the cycle has changed where the Easter eggs are now different, and these guys are trapped in purgatory, and basically the only thing they have left to do is release different alternate reality versions of themselves to try to break the cycle and set everything back to the way it should be. Well, not back to the way it should be, but set everything right. And in setting things right, you know, that's really not going to make a difference for them because they're going to die. The others, of course, you know, will succeed. We have an Easter egg that's saying that they will succeed, and that's what Black Ops 4 is going to entail, and probably Black Ops 5 if there is a Black Ops 5. The other issue is games run on hertz, okay? And to put that in perspective, basically these hertz is just a data wavelength. And so the data wavelength is basically how often your console and your game updates signal, okay? Now, what's the issue here is the typical game. So if I play Black Ops 3, if I play Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2 or, you know, Advanced Warfare or, you know, any Call of Duty game or any triple star first-person shooter, the golden standard is 60 hertz or higher, which is really good. That's the golden standard, and that does affect gameplay and whatnot. Now, on the other hand, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is running at only 20 hertz. That's 1/3 the amount. And what it is, they're scared that running at a higher hertz is going to have optimization issues and things. But then it's like, you know, if you're going to have optimization issues just from that, then how is the game even going to operate? Because if that alone is going to break the game, then, you know, like the game is kind of already broken. Because when you're playing team deathmatch or something, you're going to run into this issue where somebody's going to jump and it's going to look like they're flying, okay? You know, somebody moves fast enough, you're not going to be able to catch them. They're going to move across your screen looking like a blur. Now, that's obviously a problem. Because then you have, you know, this is a very quick paced game. Yes, there's a slower time to kill in this game, but that actually makes things worse because here's the other thing. There's also a massive flinch system where you're flinching. The muzzle flash in this game is also ridiculous and can like blot out your whole entire screen. And then, you know, your screen turning red stays red until you fix it, and you don't always have the time to fix it. So now you factor all those things with, you know, this blur, and you can't see what you're shooting. And a lot of players are actually having complaints about that. Now, this, of course, is also a problem, too, is it's like in Black Ops mode, you got vehicles, so you're moving even faster, and the problem becomes even more apparent. And basically, you're being beaten to death with not being able to see what you're shooting at. If anybody's ever played Halo 3, you'd probably be familiar with Halo 3's system and whatnot, and, you know, and how when Halo 3 first came out, you just could not hit anybody because they were moving too quick. It's the same problem. And what it is your console's not updating in real time quick enough, and the server's not updating in real time quick enough in order for you to be able to hit anything. And this does affect the hit detection. This affects, you know, what you see. This affects, you know, the graphics. So this affects pretty much everything of the game. The other thing, of course, is, Sony removed their restrictions on Fortnite, and they're calling it an experiment. And so there is cross-platform play with Fortnite, and Sony should have just gave up earlier, because it's kind of like too little too late. Gamers are offended, gamers are annoyed, and gamers will remember. And here's the other thing. Sony is only doing it with Fortnite. They're not doing it with anything else. Okay? So now other games are still not going to be cross-platform. Unless you're on a Nintendo or an Xbox, you're not going to be able to play with anybody on a different platform. Or if they're on, Sony's consoles, you're not going to be able to play with them either, which is kind of jacked up. And, it's like Sony's basically dragging their feet to give gamers what they want. Now, there's another thing with a guy who hacked, and basically he's got a whisk beater and a hot dog. He taped the hot dog to 2 boxes, and he had the whisk beater taped, and it's electric whisk beater. So the whisk beater basically smacks the hot dog, and the hot dog lifts up slightly and taps the phone screen. And he's been using this to farm loot boxes and other things on different games, which is kind of hilarious. But it's something that game companies can't really defeat. There's nothing they can do about it, and this guy's basically breaking the system. Which it's kind of funny to think that somebody can break a system with a hot dog, tape, and cardboard. Which cheers to that person. If that person's 21 or older, I owe you a beer, because I think it's hilarious, and I think it's a great thing that you're jacking up these gamer companies that have these monetization schemes that we generally do not want in our games. And gamer companies always bring up the issue, of course, of, oh, well, if we don't have these monetization schemes, the game has to cost more. Well, here's the thing. With us, most of us gamers can pretty much agree. We would rather have the game cost more than have loot boxes. Personally, I know for me personally, I would rather have the game cost more than have loot boxes. I don't care if it's a whole $40 more, because loot boxes, honest to God, are annoying. And realistically, when we break down the math and everything, it's theoretically cheaper to have loot boxes. But realistically, when you spend $200-$300 on loot boxes in practice, and the game would have only been $40 more in practice if you didn't have loot boxes, then in reality you actually would be saving money. Which I want to also say cheers to all the companies that are calling out, or excuse me, all the countries that are calling out companies on their loot boxes and their bullshit. Other related news, of course, is Steam is usually having their end of fall sale. So, they have different things on sale, whatnot. Strange Brigade is on sale. Mount Blade, Dark Souls 3 is on sale. Just typical stuff. Nothing too special, nothing standard. They have a sale like every month. So that's really not news. And Steam, of course, is Steam as usual. There's no issues there. What is this? Oh. I did buy a change. I just don't know why they're even messaging me about it. It's like I know about it already. I mean, I purchased the thing. So that's what that is. The only other relevant gaming news is that, Newgrounds Games redid their website. They just did some fixes, patches, optimization, whatnot. Newgrounds, if you don't know about them, they are actually relevant. because a lot of these indie game designers usually come onto this website, and in doing so, they make games. Okay, so a lot of these guys will experiment, release half-made games or things and whatnot, and work on them. And you can play them, you can rate them, you can leave reviews on them. You can be brutally honest, you can be nice about it, however you want to do it. Personally, I'm brutally honest, because here's the thing: they're probably trying to actually make a real game and then release it on Steam later at a later date and time and make actual money. And some games have actually come from Newgrounds and are now on Steam. And there's a lot of different games and whatnot. If you're trying to design games and whatnot, I would recommend using Newgrounds for that purpose. Because it is helpful. It is easy to become a supporter. There are people that can support and pay money to the website, and actually pay money to the people who are in development of their games. And that's their thing or whatever. If you don't want to join this website, I'm not gaining anything from you joining or not joining this. It's really not going to help you or anything. You might help an indie developer, though, which I don't know if that's important to you, but if it is, do check the website out. Also, you can friend me. I have this I kid you not, this number is my name tag, 291-8634, which, if you've ever been to high school and you've been given those ID cards from high school or whatnot, they have a little number. That's what that number is. That number is that number is like 6-7 years old. They might even recycle that number. I don't know if they recycle numbers, though. And that's really the only relevant gaming news of October that I can bring you. But I did want to bring that gaming news or whatnot. And if you do like this video, like the video. If you want to subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, I'm not going to beg you. If you want to thumbs down the video, great. If you want to leave comments, please do leave comments. I was going to address, the comments and things or whatnot that happened during the video after, but it looks like Melody and the other person are no longer on, which is fine. I'll catch you guys another time, or maybe I'll just address the comments beforehand. I am going to be streaming Changed later today. I'm going to be streaming part 4 of that. So until next time, catch y'all later. I am sure that I want to stop.